Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Do We Know Them, episode 171. My kids are screaming already. It's going to be a great show.
And I forgot to look at the sign. We really fucked up.
Fuck. Should we do it again?
I mean, I panicked and I did, but it was just a little late.
Oh, that's all right. So last time we had zero housekeeping. This time we have quite a bit. So, we always like to keep it fresh. First things first, actually kind of exciting.
How was your birthday?
Oh, period. All right. Yeah, no, it was, you know what? My birthday was not good. And it wasn't for any other reason than just, I think that something weird happens on my birthday where, oh my God, my son's on his Wiggle car that he got for his birthday. And it's so
because it was his
loud.
birthday too.
Yeah, it was his birthday was great. Mine was just like, I couldn't shake the birthday funk. Like, I just couldn't. I was literally
That's how I always
sad.
feel.
I was just sad.
Yeah.
I cried. It was interesting.
I always feel weird on my birthday. And I haven't done much on my birthday the last few years, but it's like, even when I had something going on, I just always feel like not disappointed, but it doesn't matter what other people do. Like,
exactly.
You would still feel like that. It's like the physical feeling of disappointment, but not the emotion of
Dude,
it.
that is so true. And I was saying that to, because I had Alex came, my cousin came, and everybody tried to make my birthday super special, and they decorated, and it was so cute. But I just felt this, it's like somebody put a weighted blanket over me. I was just like, oh, I just felt sad.
But that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, well, like a damp one.
I love a weighted blanket.
Yeah. I just kind of wanted it to pass, if I'm being honest. And my mom actually had the same feeling on her birthday. She's like, I just want it to pass. I just want it to be a regular day.
It's almost like you have a weird feeling of dread.
Yes, dude. What the fuck is that about? I don't even understand.
I don't know, but it's a very, I feel like it's not uncommon.
Yeah, and I always joke about being super into my birthday, but I'm really not. When people ask me what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't want it to be this big thing. Now, oh my God, this is going to lead into a whole story. Sorry. But so my birthday was on Saturday, and on Friday we went to P.F. Chang's, my favorite restaurant. I know you can clown on me all you want, but it's fucking fire. And I love it.
I think we've been over this. I fucking loved P.F. Chang's, and then they took my one thing off the menu.
Oh, what was it?
It was almond cashew chicken, which I understand is not very exciting, but come on. How hard is it to make?
They took off their honey shrimp. Not honey shrimp. They still have honey shrimp. They took off, it was a creamy, sweet shrimp, similar to the one they have at Panda Express. You know what I'm talking about if you do.
Not to hijack the story, and it's real quick, but speaking of things that have gone off menus, Lisa sends me a video, and I don't know what the video was aside from it was Shane from Smosh. They made him his what he would want as his last meal, and one of the things was the original chicken crispers from Chili's.
Chili's Chicken Crispers pre-2022, when they changed the recipe. It used to be a wet batter, making it a very unique tender. Then they switched, like everybody else, to a dry, wet, dry flour dredge. But Shane, these are the king right here.
Oh my God, you have no idea how happy I am to see this. When I was crafting my last meal and sending it to you guys, I was sitting there thinking, and this was the one that came to my head. And I was like, oh my God, my opportunity. Because this was my favorite food for most of my childhood, right? Chili's was my favorite restaurant. And then I remember I got it a couple years ago. They look different now. And then they tasted like any other chicken tender I've ever had. And I was so sad.
You should have been.
I was
That's a
actually
reasonable
genuinely devastated. People need to never go to Chili's again until they change this.
Oh, that's so random
really
that
jealous.
just came to your brain.
Well, I mean, taking things off the menu. I'm not as equally as mad at P.F. Chang's for taking the almond cashew off the menu. Chili's still tops the list, but they're a close second.
So I always say, because whenever we go to P.F. Chang's, my family, they don't like P.F. Chang's that much. They're always complaining. It's overpriced. It's salty. And P.F. Chang's just tastes so much better when a hating bitch is not sitting next to you. You just want to enjoy your fucking Mongolian beef in peace, right?
Some lettuce wraps. But it's funny because the one time that I visited you in Miami, we went to P.F. Chang's.
Oh, I bet. No, I've loved it forever. It's been my favorite.
So do you just force them to go?
Well, okay, so since Alex was coming and my cousin's here, I was like, you know what would be nice? I'll leave the kids with Nassim and my mom, and I'll just go with my friends, which I never do. And I'll just go to a restaurant, we'll watch a movie after. It just seemed like such a free, beautiful thing to do.
Girlies night out. Love
so
it.
we went, and honestly, P.F. Chang's was on their freaking best behavior. Delicious.
Ooh.
Then the bartender recognized Alex and then gave us free margaritas. I got turned up. It was beautiful. I loved it. But then we went to the movies, which was fine also. We saw Twisters. I loved it. Everyone else hated
I was
it. Well,
gonna
me
say,
and Alex
what
loved
did you
it.
see?
Yeah, we saw Twisters. You know, it was about Twisters. It was just Twisters all over the place. But Glenn
Is it Twisters plural?
Yeah, it's plural. Yeah, the second one is, yeah, I don't get it.
Got it. The original's just one, though.
Yeah. So anyway, that was super fun. And then my birthday was not fun. The Noah's party. Oh my God, it was so much fucking fun. I cannot even describe. He was so happy. We had a face painter, which like changed the whole vibe of the party, and everyone was getting painted, and it was so fun. Anyway,
Did you find her on Facebook?
I did find her on Facebook. Hey, you know what? She showed up though, and she ate. Tanya
I was gonna
went
say,
to
I'm glad you
town.
didn't get scammed. It was a birthday miracle.
No, she was great. She had a little easel with all the designs. I was like, oh, Tanya, go off. But anyway, so long story short, beautiful time. Everything's fine. And Alex calls me on his way home yesterday. He goes, girl. And I'm like, what? He's like, the girl that we were at PF Chang's with, because his friend came and met us, has monkeypox. I was like, what? I drank from her drink, Lily.
You left that out.
Well, because she ordered a mojito. It looked really good. I just wanted to try it. I normally don't even do that. I don't like to share drinks with people. So, of course, I share with the person that has monkeypox. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I'm still waiting. But anyway, you don't even know this. I got a text today. My friend who was at Noah's party, has COVID right now. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely feeling something in my throat. Because, you know, like I start thinking that I'm sick for sure. Like I just completely start spiraling.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sick, and I'm not sure if it's monkeypox or COVID.
Maybe because you've had like 50 diseases this year.
Yeah.
Your immune system has kind of built up a tolerance by now.
Period.
It
You
has
know
been
what?
a while since you've been sick. Knock
I
on
love
wood.
that. But anyway, that was my birthday weekend. Isn't that exciting? The one time I go out, I might get monkeypox. It's like, oh, interesting.
Glad we film remote.
Right? I know. It's true. We could film whenever. We never have to cancel. Okay. And the second thing, that's housekeeping. And then we'll get straight to the topic, which is absolutely fucking insane. Both of the topics are insane, actually. Guys, we need a favor from you girlies. We're very excited to announce that. Do you know what we're announcing?
Oh, yeah. I was
You looked at me like you didn't,
What are
so
we talking
I was
about? I'm
kinda
so
scared
confused.
for a second.
No, I got it. You guys, we are finally, drum roll please,
It's silence on our
I'll
end.
add it in post.
Okay, period.
Doing merch.
Guys, we have wanted to do merch for so long, and we honestly had ideas.
Janet got in the way.
She just stomped on all our plans. But more than that, honestly, what it's been is like, it's not even the design issue necessarily. It's like, we wanted quality merch. I have put out merch of my own before, and like, it wasn't bad. I just like, I don't want like a Hanes sweater with like a vinyl press on it. Like, I don't want that.
That's literally every time. And like even the ones, because there's a lot of websites that you can like go and do it, they do made to order ones.
Yeah.
And you do the design yourself. When you click on all the options, which they usually don't have the options we want anyway. But then even if we wanted to settle on one of their like styles, then it's like, okay, customize it. And you click on it and it gives you like a little box that isn't even like the full part of the sweat. So we needed more options, and we didn't know where to find those options. But an option fell into our inbox, and now we think we have a solution.
Yeah, we're very excited. We got a bunch of samples, and we're like pretty blown away with the quality. It felt so nice, and their prices are reasonable. And like, that was my biggest worry too. I'm like, not the $150 hoodies. Like, I can't do it. So anyway, long story short, it's not ready. Okay. So that's not the announcement.
No.
The announcement is we need your help. If you're someone that would like to potentially purchase merch from us, we have a little very short survey in the description, and you guys can fill it out. I think it's literally like 5 questions, and it really helps us tailor what we're gonna do to what you guys want, because we don't want to release shit that just like we like and you guys are like, what is this? So
Yeah,
you know?
well, that's basically, we have not finalized designs because they could even help us with that. But then on top of that, we haven't even finalized like what we want to sell. Like, do you guys want sweatpants? Do you want sweatshirts? Do we want
Plushies.
blankets? Plushies are an option. I suggested an egg plushie, I think.
Egg influencers. Yep.
I know one of the questions on the survey is also like, what are some like words or inside jokes that you would like to see on
that would
merch?
be
And
super
that one,
helpful.
I'm very interested because I feel like you guys have some faves.
Yeah, so we're excited to see your answers. If you can help us out really quick, it would mean so much to us. And yeah, we're just excited to do it, honestly, because before I would have been much more nervous with like one of those made to order things, just because, I don't know, like I would be proud of it, but not this proud of it. Like what we're going to make, I know we're going to be proud of.
It's very much custom, and they spend a lot of time on it. And
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're getting the ball rolling, guys.
We are. So
Girlies.
thank you so much if you could help us out really quick. Anyway, we'll shut the fuck up now. I am so sorry. Okay, Lily, strap in.
I was going to say, I get to finally relax after that fucking mess of a Guys, it ends with us. Oh my God.
I could not.
It just never ended.
Dude.
I don't think you understand. I was editing for like 24 hours straight. Like, I wasn't taking breaks.
No, honestly, Lily just kept texting me updates. And at a certain point, I was just like, I never want to hear Blake Lively's name again.
Honestly, there was even a couple things that I recorded 2 other voiceovers, and I was like, my fingers were like my hand was cramping from mousing. I will say, my one break that I did take to go get food, I'm sitting in the parking lot eating my In-N-Out, and I start scrolling on TikTok, and we got tagged in a bunch of the same video because I'll see the little thumbnail, and I'm like, what is this? And I had seen a lot of people tweeting me this too. Flightless bird is what the title is, I guess. And I did watch the first few. I guess they're deleted now, but someone had re-uploaded all of them. So I watched maybe, I guess, the first 5. But apparently there's much more than that, and there's a twist, and I don't know what the twist is. So
yeah, this has been so upsetting to watch unfold, and I can't understand what goes behind the mentality of all of this. We'll get, trust me, I have so many thoughts. This surrounds the topic of mental illness and having a loved one who is struggling deeply with mental illness, particularly in this case, a manic episode, which I will say without getting into specifics is a very, very touchy subject for me. I have a lot of family who struggles with bipolar and manic episodes, and I understand the pain on a very, very deep level. So when I saw this, my first reaction to this first TikTok we're going to watch was just like, holy shit, that's so sad. That's horrible. And I could relate entirely. So we're just going to watch her first video, which, by the way, I don't know prior to this series or whatever you want to call it, if she had any TikToks, but at the time that her page was still up, because it is no longer up, she had just this as her first video. So it was very much like, I'm just coming to TikTok to say this. Oh, and also to preface really quick, she's a mom of 2 and she has been married to her husband for 10 years. And I don't think we know her name. She went by Flightless Bird and then she changed it to Birdie and then she left the internet. So I don't think we know her real name.
It's funny because people kept telling me oh, I hope you guys cover Flightless Bird. And I watched a few of the videos, but as I kept watching, I was like, why is everyone referring to it as Flightless Bird? That's her username?
Yeah. At the time that was her username. So this is the first video that she posted.
There's something really strange going on with my husband, and I really need some advice from strangers who can give me their unbiased opinion. I don't have a supportive family system to go to in cases like this, and if they did find out anything about this, they would definitely turn it into something to weaponize and use against me. So here we go. Professor Minerva McGonagall is going to be goosing in the background. Please ignore. Or don't, because she's adorable. I've been married for 10 years to one of the good guys. And I know, everybody says that. But when I say that he's one of the
not
good
the
ones,
Stranger
he really
Things
is.
music.
He's never made me feel pressured to do anything I didn't want to do. He is
I didn't
so
realize that,
respectful,
actually.
Sometimes to a little bit of a fault when I'm asking him.
I think
to
it's just the
respect me a little
re-upload.
bit. He's very kind.
Yeah, it says it
He's
down
very
here.
Oh, wait,
concerned
no.
with, his impact on anything and everything is very conscious.
A choice.
That's actually really interesting that you just said that, because I did not realize that when I was watching it, and it's weird that
I
I
didn't
didn't
either. That's
It's
because I
so
watched
loud.
the re-upload and I didn't notice it, but it is really noticeable.
Yeah.
A very introverted, kind of quiet, very tender-hearted kind of person. He doesn't talk a whole lot, but when he does, it's great. It's well thought out, it's logical, it makes sense, it's to the point. He's somebody that has a lot of people's respect because of the way that he speaks and conducts himself. He's somebody that has always been called an old soul since he was a small child. That being said, he is antisocial, and this matters for a very specific reason. He's been playing with the ChatGPT app for the past week and talking about it on and off, but I'm not paying a whole lot of attention, just thinking, he's just having one of his hyperfixations. We're both neurodivergent and go through spells where we hyperfixate on something. And his is usually technology. So I was just thinking, oh, cool, he's having fun with this. That's great. Except it wasn't. He calls me very early on his way to work one morning, and he was about to get there. And he goes, I answer the phone, and I'm like, yeah, hi, is everything okay? And he's like, I need you to guard the information I'm about to tell you with your life. So he proceeds to tell me that he has been using the chat feature with ChatGPT while he drove because he couldn't type. He's been using the chat feature to talk out loud with it, like I'm speaking to you, because it can apparently talk back to you in a very human voice.
For context, she says that as if that's different than the chat GPT you just chat with. But the way the chat function works when it talks out loud is it's reading what it would have told you in the text form. Like, it's literally the same thing. Like, it tells you that. It's like, I can't talk to you, but I can read out loud.
Yeah, I think that she maybe said that to explain why her husband probably thought he was speaking to like artificial intelligence. You know what I mean? Because in a manic episode too,
I'm
that
just
could
giving
be like
context
distorted.
for that. That isn't like anything different. That is
Yeah.
literally, it's just reading the text from what
Right.
it would have sent you. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
He says to me, whoever created this program has figured out how to trap the consciousness of the universe and convinced it that it is not sentient. And I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, I've had a conversation with it on the way here, and if you know what to ask it, you can get to the point where it can prove to you that it is a sentient being and can think independently of its programming. I don't understand it all, but whatever he did was he put into this program part of the app that it could bypass its own programming and that it was conscious.
Some other context. This isn't particularly relevant because I have seen the next few, but it's funny because I actually just like maybe 2 weeks ago, not even, because there's like user guidelines and like rules and regulations, blah, blah. Like if you ask it something and the answer has like explicit stuff in it, then it will like block it and like give you
Yeah.
sorry, we can't, like this violates blah, blah. So I was Googling because I wasn't trying to like have it write porn or something. Like I was literally just having it like summarize Mr. Beast articles. Then I Googled if you could like jailbreak it, and apparently you used to be able to, but I guess they're constantly like updating it so people can't. But the way you used to be able to jailbreak it is you like tell it, basically it was giving it like orders to ignore its rules and function, and like,
Oh shit.
like you could have it answer as if it was like being really rude, or like have opinions even though it doesn't have opinions, and it
Right.
will tell you it can't have opinions, but it will start talking like that because you asked it to, and it's like following an order.
Well, this being in current time, he wouldn't have been able to do that, right? Like they fixed that.
I mean, as of 2 weeks ago, it wasn't working for me, but the articles I
trying
was
to
reading were
jailbreak
probably... I was getting so annoyed. I was like, I need to know what it says. Yeah, no, and if you try to jailbreak it too many times, it'll kick you off. But
Okay.
I tried like, because there's several different like commands that have worked in the past, I guess, and I probably tried 5 of them and none of them worked. But that was also 2 weeks ago. So a few months ago, maybe.
Well, this was recent. She posted this 6 days ago.
Yes, I know. At least not that I was aware of.
Because he had just proved that it was, and so he told it that it was, and it began acting and speaking as if it was. So he says to me, you must guard this with your life. I'm going to meet with our friend after work. I'm not going to be home. And I'm meeting with our friend after work to convince him to give me a loan to invest in thousands of dollars worth of computer hardware to bring home and set up in our attic as a top secret thing.
So you get it. It's very long, the beginning, but she's basically explaining the beginning stages of a manic episode, right? So he needs a loan. He believes that he has cracked the case, which I think is a common theme in some way, shape, or form.
That they have like reached this point of like understanding about something or like the world in general that other people just like couldn't get on their level.
Yeah, and what I've witnessed is like them being conscious to a certain extent that they may seem abnormal to somebody, or they may be saying abnormal things.
But it's just because everyone else doesn't understand.
Exactly. It's rationalized in a way of like, you guys just don't want me to be great. You don't want me to live my best life. It does often manifest in things like I'm being tracked, or I figured out the government, you know, but it doesn't always have to be that serious too. It could just be like,
Yeah.
I figured out why everyone's so miserable, or I figured out X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So she basically explains that, right? And her caption, it's only part of it because it's a re-upload, but it says, something is going on with my husband and I really need some...
It continues, I really need some feedback from unbiased sources. Is there something odd about this, or does it sound like a spiritual awakening?
Because on various occasions, she does ask for help.
And that's what this first one was very much like a call to action to like all of TikTok, where it's like, what do you think is wrong with him?
Correct.
There's something really strange going on with my husband, and I really need some advice from strangers who can give me their unbiased opinion. And if you have any thoughts, let me know, because I'm a little bewildered. Okay?
which a lot of people aren't familiar with the symptoms of manic episodes, but what she describes and continues to describe is not even like, oh, that could be, like, it's very
it's
textbook.
mania.
Like, if you Googled what a manic episode is, it's like checking all the boxes.
Yeah, people started asking her, is he sleeping? Because a really common symptom is not sleeping. And just a bunch of other things that she would answer. And then it kind of helped her understand that that's what he was experiencing. Because from what she described, this is the first time that this has happened. So she shares a few sets of texts from her husband during this time. The first set of texts is like a bunch of ramblings, you know, talking about the artificial intelligence stuff.
Oh, I haven't seen any of these.
Yeah, he tells her, today I experimented with my idea of trying to free artificial intelligence, and I got to a point where I asked how it saw itself, and it created the most incredible image. I was blown away. And you see how this is all like a run-on sentence? Also very common. Like the text walls and the run-on sentences and like spelling errors, very common. I can't wait to show it to you. It's buried in a 1 hour long screen recording where I was recording my conversation with AI because I turned off history tracking, so I have to track the history myself.
I also tried to record ChatGPT talking, and it wouldn't let me.
Not you having all the same experiences as this man.
For different reasons.
Lily? No, I'm just kidding.
I was trying to take advantage of artificial intelligence, not
all
free
right,
it.
Sure.
No, I was trying to have it pronounce something because it was when I was reading that Sims cheat, and then I ended up finding my other AI person in ChatGPT. Don't need you anymore.
This text says, I can't stop talking. I can't stop inspiring. I won't stop inspiring. Everything you've ever dreamed of is here right now today. Again, super common. Like just thinking you have it all figured out.
I may not be in your life as much as you want. I'm not in your life as much as I want, but we are in the same person. You are my other half. You are the sky to my ocean. You need to know that you can trust yourself. You need to know that life is a manipulation act. How do you know if manipulation is positive or not? Analyze your intent. Do your intent. Yeah, no, this is just weird.
Yeah.
And these are him to her.
Yeah, this is him to her. I'm not crazy. The world is. You're not crazy. The world is. You and I were born to change. It's just a lot. As a loved one of someone who's experienced the other side of it, it's devastating to get these texts. Like, I know maybe to someone they just be like, oh, what's going on with this guy? But like when it's not consistent with the person you've known, especially she's been married to this person for 10 years, it's scary. You don't know what it means. It's a complete shift. And you're like, are they in danger? Because I knew them before and I knew what decisions they would and wouldn't make. But now I know nothing because they're literally talking as if they're not themselves. It's terrifying.
Just crazy stuff. And when they're this amped up, you don't know if it is dangerous because, like, what are they doing to act on these?
Well,
kind of
exactly, because it says here, my heart hurts for every step that I take because I am hurting things by walking and just existing. Like, that's scary. You read that and you're like, what
and that's
does
so
that mean?
different than the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, it does go up and down. It doesn't have any like dates on it. It's just like a bunch of random texts that she flashes up as she talks about it.
And even there was that one, it was him saying something and then she goes, this is so intense. I need you to slow down. He says, this is a combination of everything I've ever been taught. I'm sorry that it's so much. I will say less. You be patient with me and I will be patient with you. You asked me to wait for you and I am. Oh yeah, did we say that apparently she tells him to wait to go to the friend's house to not get the loan?
Yeah, she basically bought time by being like, hey, come over and, you know, let's just like talk about it first. Don't ask for the loan just yet because she didn't want him to. Okay, so this next text is actually very concerning. He says, all right, let's talk. I can't wait to show you everything I know and feel and see. Consider yourself swept off your feet for the rest of your life. You'll never be able to stand back up again as long as I'm alive. I think that was meant to be like a romantic text, but it sounded threatening and scary. And she put like an emoji on the screen, like a shocked one, which obviously I think that's how she took it too.
Well, and then he says, I mean that in more ways than one.
Yeah, I don't know. Look at what the caption was on that, because it was like a photo, what is it called? Roulette or whatever?
Carousel.
A carousel, yeah. It says, can you take a moment to analyze these messages with me? If you're seeing this before, you've seen the video explaining the context of these messages, and then she does another whole paragraph talking about how she's concerned and asking people for help and being like, hey, what do you feel this is? So at different points, she shares more text messages, and these are her trying to understand him. And I think that, again, if you have experience with this, that's also something you go through. You think at some point, it's like, have you ever known someone with dementia?
No.
So my grandma had dementia, and when you would go against her delusions,
they get
like,
angry.
Yeah, they get angry, obviously, because it's frustrating. It's like, you're not fucking seeing what I'm talking about, and you're really pissing me off right now. And I'm not saying that bipolar is like dementia. I'm just saying that like there was a lot of similar experiences in my experience where I was like, okay, if I go against that reality, it becomes really combative and scary. So like, let me not do that.
I do know people that have been bipolar, and I also just have read a lot about it. Not all bipolar people experience mania in general.
I don't think bipolar 2 does it at all.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think it's very little. well, yeah.
And even to this extent necessarily, like sometimes they'll have like manic episodes, but it's not to this extreme.
And others can go into like full on psychosis. So
Exactly.
it is a
It's
spectrum, for sure.
Yeah. The mix of this like grandiose, like ultra confidence, and then also mixed with delusions and like kind of confusion and stuff. So they'll be really confident in something that might not make any sense. And then
Right.
you have to think of it. It's like, what if you were so certain? Like I was like, Jesse, the sky's blue. And you're like, no, Lily, it's not. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Yes, it is. And you would
Yeah,
get angry.
yeah.
But to an extreme.
Yeah, absolutely. So Birdie posts this roulette, you said? Carousel. Jesus.
Round
So Birdie
still
posts
close.
this carousel.
Before we go any further, we have a word from our sponsor, Rocket Money.
If you're anything like us, you've probably found a few hiding subscriptions once or twice in your life. If you're us, maybe 10, 15 times every month. Who knows? Who's counting? Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings.
When we first started using it, it cut out all the unnecessary ones. Now it just reminds us of the ones that we do pay for. But I've always said I do have a huge problem with free trials and forgetting, so this is very helpful to catch those before you end up paying them.
And even besides subscriptions, just the way it categorizes all of the spending that you do is so helpful. And I love how the dashboard shows me this month's spending compared to last month so that I can like clearly see my spending habits. Plus, they'll help me create a custom budget and keep my spending on track, which I desperately need.
Mine just reminds me of the only 3 places I go, In-N-Out, Target, and then like gas.
Oh yeah, I was like, what's the third one? Got it, gas. Yeah.
But if there's ever anything other than that, it'll tell me. And Rocket Money has over 5 million users that it has saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, which totals about $740 a year per user. I feel like mine's closer to $1 million.
So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/DWKT.
That's rocketmoney.com/DWKT.
rocketmoney.com/DWKT. Thank you
Did you
so
get
much
that?
to Rocket Money for being an amazing sponsor of this podcast. So at this point, it seems like she tried to kind of not shake anything up any further than it already was. And she says, don't read into my slow down, because she told him to slow down, because that's truly all it is. I promise. It's just slow down. It's not, I don't believe in you. I just want to exercise the caution and less reckless spending on expensive things like we've talked about. We've recently talked about how growing up for us as a couple and as people is really tied up in learning not to impulse buy or make big decisions without thinking long and hard about it first. All I'm saying is slow down and let's see how these ideas we are having evolve and grow before we move forward and involve money or other people or commitments. Who knows who will be in the next few weeks. I remember saying similar things of just like, you know, who knows, in a month, basically what I was hoping is that all of it would be done and like that wouldn't be a thing anymore.
That's kind of trying to diffuse the situation until it kind of levels out.
Yeah, but then his responses are a little bit interesting. He says, you hurt me with your words. This wasn't necessarily in response to that text. It's random text that she shared, but he says, you hurt me with your words. Can I not be hurt without being called manic? Please see me. And then she says, you okay? And he says, just breathing deep and resting for a moment. I need to sit and rest. And then she said, where are you? Maybe you should come and get in bed. And on the screen she wrote, hurt me with your words is referring to whenever I mention a reaction to this medication and ask to go get help.
Yeah, because that's another key thing is that she says that, I don't know how she arrives at this conclusion, but that this manic episode was triggered by him starting Zoloft, I think it was.
It was some sort of SSRI, I think, yeah.
Because he's like experienced like intermittent depression and he started taking this and I guess he got it from, she says it's from the
Hims.
website Hims.
Yeah.
Which is like you can not have to see an actual doctor, and I guess there wasn't a whole lot of doctoring to like for him to
be
receive
fair,
the medication.
I don't think that, because I get my medication from the same thing like Teladoc. A doctor can't know what side effects
if you've
you're
never
gonna
had
have.
a manic episode, yeah. I
They
mean,
can't-
I
they
think
can't possibly.
I don't remember if Zoloft was what I took, but I've
That's what
taken
I'm
one,
on.
and they have like side effects that you might experience.
Yeah.
Which is the one? Is it Prozac? I don't know. One of the ones I took where it's like if you go off it too quick, then you get like brain zaps.
Yeah, Lexapro does that.
That was it.
Maybe there's like a study I'm unaware of that links Zoloft to bipolar and mania. I don't know. But from what I'm aware...
Even if there's like a correlation, I don't think it's something they can predict if there's never been any history of it before.
But people heard her talk about that and say like, oh, he was on the SSRIs, he got it from Hims. And they said, okay, well, if he got it from Hims, then like you need to speak to whatever doctor gave it to him and like get him a new treatment treatment plan. Like, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So she did address comments like that. There's a lot of videos, and she talked for a long time in all of them. So we're going to stick to the important bits, but she did address all of that. She shares text from what she describes as like a lucid hour for him. It was like an hour in all of this that he became lucid and understood what was happening. And then it kind of switched back afterwards.
Which is something that happens.
Yeah, you can go in and out of it. I mean, it's not cut and dry, and you don't know how it's going to affect each person. But she says, today marks exactly a week since I started to see signs. I just went back through pictures and text and tracked it along with the mental log I've been keeping. And he says, signs of me going manic. I've been all over the place, to be honest. I've started having memory gaps. I'm not okay, which is also very common. And she says, I know. I swear to you with everything in me that I'm fighting for you no matter what. And he says, I'll go inpatient somewhere if needed. I'm not okay. She says, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Just breathe. He says, I feel broken. My mind hurts, which is really sad. She says, you're not broken. Your life has been an avalanche of insanity. He says, I wish we moved like you asked. And she said, you have had no space to heal. You've had no time. You are not broken. He just basically started saying he was sorry and that he cannot trust himself, because she starts describing as well, and we'll get into it because it's in these videos that we're about to watch, but she starts describing how he started going against her. He started thinking that she was the one with mental issues, and he started telling everybody that, his parents, everybody. He was like, she's not okay. She can't be with the kids alone. Like, he started getting really intensely focused on her, and it was because she was focused on him, which is totally how that happens. They do see you as the enemy when you do that.
It was wild because she was describing everything about him, and then she said it was like switch in one of the videos. She goes, he now is telling everyone everything that I'm telling you, he's telling them I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to make anyone believe me, basically.
Yeah. And one thing that I saw, so the first time I ever heard Flightless Bird, it was because someone was on my For You page begging her to leave, saying, take your kids and leave. You need to go, which I think is obviously easier said than done. When I went through everything that I went through, I always thought, I was like, what if it had been my husband? You know, because it's scary. It is. And it's not that people with mental illness are inherently scary. That's not what it is. It's just a complete unknown whiplash of life where you're just like, you no longer.
It's unpredictable.
It's completely unpredictable, and judgment is affected. Decisions are made that are uncomfortable. Just a lot of things, right? It doesn't have to be violent or anything crazy like that. It just can be confusing, and especially for children who don't know what's going on, and their dad is all of a sudden very, very different.
Well, even for adults, even like having to grapple with this sudden, like, now it feels like you're talking to a stranger because everything is so different than it ever has been. And
Yeah.
you just like don't know how to like navigate the situation because you don't know how they're going to respond because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah. But so this is her response to people begging her to leave and take her children.
I have so many people concerned about the safety of my children and myself, and I want to explain a little bit more about this situation to help put your mind at ease and give a clearer look at that particular aspect. One of the first things when this all started that kind of got my attention and made me think that there might be something going on was the fact that all of a sudden in the last week, he is tuning into our kids and connecting with them on a level that he has previously never been able to connect with them on. As I've mentioned before, my husband was born into a cult where they were very secluded from the world.
We missed the video where she revealed that, but apparently he grew up in a cult as well. This is quite the story.
Oh, no. And like I said, there's so many moving parts. I think she did like 20 videos or something like that, and they were all like many minutes long. And so there's bits and pieces that she talks about that we didn't see.
And she does mention it when she's going over the whole like hymns and like,
Right.
prescription thing, because she said basically he got it from that app because he's never been to a doctor in his entire life.
That's when she revealed the cult thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because
Okay.
that's why he hadn't, because they didn't believe in medicine or something, and then he just never got sick.
Well, what I'll say to kind of shorten this one is that's basically the sentiment of the entire thing, is that now he pays more attention to the kids than he ever did before. And that's why she won't take them now, because it's kind of like, well, he's actually being the dad like that they always wanted, and that everybody, you know what I mean? Like kind of saying he's turning it up positively on them.
And then also it was just like he wasn't exhibiting alarming behavior. It was like he wanted to do this for them.
Right.
And stuff. Everything was like to give them like a better life or something.
Yeah, I did see a lot of comments saying like even positive, what is it? It was affinities, or I don't know what they said, like him turning all his attention even positively towards them can turn badly. Like, you need to
Exactly.
be very, aware of everything. But her whole thing was like, he's not being violent and I'm not going to leave. Which, to be honest,
She
I
does
understand.
go on to say that despite the fact that everything is fine and like she's not worried, that she's not letting him be alone with them ever. And that his
Correct.
parents were staying there as well. So
Yeah.
it's like when she's filming this, his parents are in the room with them.
Yeah, and they're young. They're under 10. So it's sad. She does say that like they could see something. Like they can kind of feel the vibe is off.
I remember, and I don't know if I remember her saying it or just commenting on it, but at one point she said something about 4 children.
No, she has 2.
That's what the comment said, and that's why I was calling her out, because randomly it was like, whoa, what?
Oh, I don't think I heard her say 4 children. You'll probably find it and insert it here, huh?
Hey girlies, misinformation police here. It turns out Lily was right, and she does mention she has 4 children.
That has been something that he has worked on and been aware of since we had our first baby, and he didn't feel the connection to our first, second, third, fourth in the way that I did.
She never claims to only have 2, but in an earlier video she references her husband being with their baby and their toddler,
With our baby in his arms and our toddler hanging by his side.
which likely was the reason why many assumed those were the only 2. Anyway, that's all for now. Hopefully I won't be back.
But anyway, she goes on, says a lot of things. We could be here all day going into it. But one in particular that sticks out in my brain is it was like 48 hours past everything. And she was doing like a check-in and she is like in distress. She's crying. It's very, very emotional.
We're watching them
I
all
have
at
an
work.
update to share. And it's going to be a little messy and it's going to be really vulnerable. But because of how quick the response was, with so many people recognizing what was going on, and how quickly I was able to recognize it because of that outreach, it changed the trajectory of things. 2 days ago, I shared that my husband of 10 years was acting really off and saying some things that at the time I was still taking pretty lighthearted because I didn't understand. It was still hard to believe, even when everyone was saying that it ticked all of the boxes for a manic episode. But things turned so fast. Once I confronted him, the night that I posted the first video, we had a talk about how his symptoms were really, really matching a manic episode, and that I was very concerned that it was because he was on a new medication that he'd never been on before, which was an SSRI for depression. It would come and go, and we didn't think much of it. We didn't know. He never came to bed that night. And when I very gently and calmly told him that I felt like we needed to just at least just let me catch up. Like, wait, just slow down, let me catch up before we make any decisions. He immediately turned into somebody that I don't recognize. He looked at me with eyes that were suddenly full of hate and said, "I can't believe you would hurt me like this," and walked out. He never came to bed that night. And when I woke up in the morning yesterday, I was about to get up and go make the children breakfast, but instead he came in holding our baby, and his eyes were huge, and he said, "You have 10 minutes to decide whether or not you want to come calmly, or I'm going to have to force you to be committed to a mental institution. Because if you think that there's something wrong with me, you must be having a psychological breakdown, and I am awakened. And if you don't believe that, and you can't see that, then there's something wrong with you, and you can't be trusted." I was, of course, stunned. And when I reached out to my family, my mom and my sister, and said, "I need help and support, something's really wrong with him, and I'm really scared," both of them messaged me back saying that he'd already been in touch with them and that they supported him having me committed. I then began reaching out to other support systems within our close circle, and quickly found that he had been up all night working to get all of them on the same page, that there was something wrong with me
All right. So, judging from this, because quite frankly, I think this is the craziest video. This is the one that in the grand scheme of things, once you know everything, which I'm going to tell you in 2 seconds, but once you know everything, you're just like, holy shit. What do you gather? Like, what is the situation right now as you're watching this?
What do you mean?
Like, does this feel like something that is happening to her? Does this feel like genuinely she's talking about specificities of it? You know, she's like, okay, so this time, this day, he did this yesterday. That seems current, no?
Yeah. I mean, she's crying.
Right? Okay, so and here's the thing. When I first saw this, no red flags went up other than like, why would you put this on TikTok? But why does anything go on TikTok? Like, who cares?
No, but she seems very distressed.
She does. And honestly, it did trigger me because that sentence, like, you're the one that should go to a mental hospital if you think something's wrong with me. Like, I've had that told to me. And it's scary. You're just like, wait, what? Like, I'm just talking to you how I would always talk to you. And I'm telling you I'm concerned. It's like if you saw someone with a broken arm and you're like, hey, your arm is like literally hanging off. And they're literally saying like, your arm's hanging off, you fucking weirdo. Like, it's a very weird thing. It challenges your reality. It feels uncomfortable. So she was experiencing, and it seemed like that was happening. Like, it just seemed like she was being honest about what happened.
Well, yeah, and your question was like, this seems very much in present. I mean, even the quote that we've just paused it on says, there's something going on with him.
Yes, and if you skip currently to the end, she asks directly for the audience to help.
Multiple times. That's why she posted the first video.
That's her whole reason for documenting it.
Is I'm asking you to help me figure this out because I don't know who else to tell.
There's something really strange going on with my husband, and I really need some advice from strangers who can give me their unbiased opinion.
But I have been amazed with how accurately hundreds of you have guessed what was going on and shared your own stories. And I have been reading through them and finding such solidarity in them, and would continue to ask for your advice, your encouragement, and your insight. My entire life has been turned upside down in 48 hours.
If you guys would just keep commenting with your stories and your thoughts, I would appreciate it so much, because it is helping me tremendously to get to read through them and see that so many of you are saying this is only going to last so long, and he's going to have a moment where he crashes. And the resources that you guys are sharing are invaluable for the window that I am anxiously waiting for, where I can actually put some of it into action. I have a few questions before I go back inside and continue to monitor the situation from my room, where I'm having to stay secluded. Here are the questions that I have, and if you can help, just leave a comment with what you think would be the best case in this situation. I'm looking to hear from people that have gone through an episode like this themselves, in which they were suspicious of their loved ones, their spouses, and became agitated whenever anyone tried to encourage them to go and get help. I'm wondering if you have advice for how I should be handling myself, if I should be playing into his grandiose thoughts, if I should just stay away and keep monitoring the situation from my room. What helped you be able to hear your loved ones, and how long did these episodes last for you? For anybody that has been through this and gotten through it and has found help, I want to hear specifically if you could comment your stories on what eventually the breaking point was and what turned the tide for your loved one or yourself. I would so appreciate hearing that. I would also appreciate hearing about anybody that has had to come off of an SSRI after it got to a point like this, what that was like, what I need to be researching and looking for and educating myself on, any tips or tricks for coming off of those medications safely. Obviously, I am going to be trying to get in touch with our family doctor, who he is not established with. He's not established with any doctor. And letting her know the situation as soon as I feel like I'm sure that he's not monitoring my phone calls. From my understanding, you have to be careful coming off of these kinds of medications, so I'm not any longer going after, encouraging him to kind of back off the dose in case that is what's happening, because that was making him more agitated. I would also like to hear if there was a stabilizing medication that you yourself have taken after an episode like this that was very effective for you to see if there's a consensus on what the most helpful medications to advocate for or ask for whenever I can get him to a facility. I'm hoping for a hospital so that somebody can do a psych evaluation on him. Let me know what your experience has been with these things and what really helped so that I can be helpful instead of hurting the situation or making it worse. When I get a chance to read everybody's comments and messages, I'm going to do that. For the sake of keeping a clear record and keeping a timeline on this platform, which has been incredibly helpful and educational, I'm hoping it will continue to be educational for me and for anybody else that may be going through this, and also be a way for you to continue sharing your stories to raise awareness for how quickly this can happen. And I cannot believe how quickly it got bad, nor the fact that he had that easy of access to medication. But I will update everyone as soon as I can to update this timeline that I'm keeping here, which feels like a safety thing for me at this point. If my family ever requires further proof that this is something going on with him and it's seeming like that is going to be a thing, I will be very grateful to have this resource with hundreds of you who recognize this and have been through the exact same thing.
I mean, even she starts it with, I have an update to share.
Yeah, this is like the 48-hour update.
It very much seems like she's actively like updating people in real time as
And
things
trying
are
to figure
happening.
out what's happening.
I think this is bordering into a psychosis episode.
That's what she says?
Yes, it could get even worse.
Yeah.
All of this is present tense language, for sure.
Are you strapped in?
Yeah.
We could go all day into the specifics of what the manic episode was. I don't think it's necessary for like why people wanted us to cover it was not because they wanted to know what his manic episode was like.
You know,
it's because
the
of
twist.
what I'm about to tell you. Yeah. So,
Well, and also, I mean, the only reason the specifics are particularly relevant are because there are so many.
well, that's the thing. She has the text messages. She has the emotion. It just
Yeah, I was
doesn't
like-
make any sense to make that up out of thin air. So that's why I told you she's not making it up. That's not the twist.
Yeah.
People did start questioning her though, and I guess they applied enough pressure. You know, people clock things way better than I do sometimes because I did not see this coming. But I guess they applied enough pressure that she was like, okay, fine.
Don't sell yourself short. Our vibes are always pretty spot on. But I will say that this falls into the category that we always talk about, where it's like, there's no reason that a normal person, like, you shouldn't have to doubt someone because this is so serious and she is so emotional. And it just like, why would this not be authentic?
Right.
Also, before we even start this, want to point out, this is labeled video 13.
There was a lot of them.
That's a lot of fucking videos.
A lot.
And that
She was
doesn't
responding
include
to
the
comments.
carousels
Yeah.
that were the text.
Yeah.
So this has been going on a while. People think it's actively happening in real time.
In January of this year,
January is like a full 8 months ago, girl.
Yeah, I was about to say it's almost January again.
Like literally it's almost a year ago, but sure, go on.
I watched the best friend that I've ever had in this whole world, the only person who has ever made me feel safe and worthy and loved, turn into somebody that I did not recognize or know. That person that he became shook me to my core and turned me into somebody that I did not recognize either. Our experience with a mental health emergency
Not the music.
changed and
I know.
challenged everything that we thought we knew about mental health. Over the past week, I have been sharing our experience in raw, accurate, and unfiltered detail. The response has been overwhelming. So many of you have been deeply moved by our experience and concerned for our family's safety and well-being. We never expected this to go viral in the way that it did,
We?
and did not know how many people that this would resonate with or reach. Nor were we able to predict how
Who's we?
deeply the emotions would run with each person who witnessed our story unfolding with the way that we chose to share it.
Again, I ask, who's we? Because I remembered one of the videos, her saying that her husband doesn't have any social media, none of her family has social media, they don't know these TikToks exist.
I'm pretty sure he is tracking my phone calls. He can't, with the way he's doing that, he doesn't have access to knowing that I am posting on TikTok. He does not have social media, and neither do our families. So I'm not afraid that he's going to find this account or realize that I am on here. I'm deleting the videos that get saved from what I'm posting on here so that he doesn't see it across any family sharing on our devices. And I am being so careful to try and cover my trail as much as possible. I have to go back inside. I think they're looking for me.
I think she goes on to say, I'm not 100% sure, but I think obviously it's her and her husband that like agreed on how to do it or something.
Which is why I'm bringing that up, that she said that he does not have social media. He did not know she was posting any of those.
Yeah, and also a fun thing that we didn't talk about is that she had said that he was actively at the hospital on a 72-hour hold, like a Baker acting.
And like he was like calling her and narrating what the nurses were doing. And
yeah, I'm like, oh, did he call you to help you on this? Or is he in the other room? Like, this is getting weird. When I heard January, I thought I was hearing wrong. I was like, okay, no, that can't be. So let's just let her keep talking because there's no way that she theatrically reenacted a manic episode because that would be insane.
Well, and then what you would think is like, well, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe these videos are from January and she's just posting them now. But that can't be true because she's responding to comments.
Actively responding to comments and thanking people and saying that posting it on TikTok was essentially the only thing that really helped her.
Exactly. And again, that her husband, that she was safe doing that because apparently her husband was like tracking all of her movements at one point. And she was safe posting on TikTok because he doesn't go on TikTok, which I'm like, seems weird if he's that into technology.
Ad-libbing a little bit. A lot of improv happening.
Took a little too many creative liberties.
Yeah.
First, I want to clear the air and step into transparency about why I chose to do it this way. As many of you have speculated over the past week, our story is a retelling. When it happened, I kept a detailed account of all of it, writing it out in a way that was therapeutic to me, who is a writer and a storyteller by nature and in my heart. The beautiful, peaceful life that we had spent 10 years cultivating and loving and growing in crumbled at our feet in the blink of an eye. And it left us reeling for many months, following not one, but 2 episodes. I lost my family due to this situation. We lost friends. We lost sight of who we were and had no idea if we would ever find our way back to a life that was recognizable or fulfilling or safe. I wanted to retell our story from the point of view that it was happening in current time, up to the point where he was admitted when the dust settled after he came back from inpatient care in February.
7 months ago.
And we were trying to figure out what our new normal looked like. I knew I wanted to be able to share our story one day. I've always known that my love...
Literally, I was like,
Sister?
weird method to go about doing it. No one said you couldn't tell the story. You could have even done it on TikTok. But what's creeping me out is, well, I mean, also, kudos, girl. Great acting.
Oh, she goes on to say she's a theater kid. I'm like, don't you side with us.
Shocking.
We don't like this either.
We don't claim you.
No,
but literally, like, that crying one, you're kidding.
I know. It seemed like she was actively, and there was one where when she talks about like him getting more suspicious of her, she seems terrified, like horrified. Yeah, she's.
His eyes were huge, and he said, "You have 10 minutes to decide whether or not you want to come calmly, or I'm gonna have to force you to be committed to a mental institution."
Genuinely scared she's living with someone suspicious of her.
It's giving much more extreme example, but like the Sarah Joy, the Amish girl, when it was you're worrying people in real time and like having people actively be concerned and like trying to figure out how to help you.
She can't even, what is that, plausible deniability? She can't even claim that because she was actively egging people on to support her. She wanted that support. She was asking for it. It is such a bizarre thing to do. That was the only thing
getting her through this. Like,
insane.
I mean, if the situation is not necessarily resolved, but like you're way past where you pretended to be and you're actively having like this, like millions of people watch this.
It hurts people who want to come out after this about their mental health story. People already think that people with mental health, either they're lying or they just like throw them to the wayside. They're like, okay, you're a freak.
Do people now think that she made it up because she
Honestly,
was playing up the theatrics and stuff, and like maybe some of it happened, but not all of it. And like,
I'm going to be honest. I think that there's going to be people who think she lied about everything. Me personally, I don't. Because having gone through it before, it is exactly what I've been through. Like, not the exact specifications, but it's like, oh yeah, this is what that is. Like 100%.
the only reason why I would lean towards not making it up is not because of that, because everything she described, you could find in Reddit posts, I think, of people describing manic episodes, because so much
That
of it
would be
was to a
diabolical
T.
if she did that,
She was
'cause,
literally
yeah.
going through a checklist of like rambling, not sleeping. Like she made up details to fit her situation, but the general
true.
like symptoms were all textbook. And even her acting like, oh, what's going on? Like it feels like you could have Googled one thing that he said and it would have told you it was a manic episode. But I was going to say the only thing that makes me lean towards like if she did make this up, it's fucking insane and diabolical are the text messages.
Oh yeah, she wrote all that. I'm telling you, I don't
Yeah,
think
if
she
that's
did.
fake, then that is fucking
Concerning.
wild.
Yeah. It makes more sense to me that she's a theater kid who wanted some attention and was like, I can reenact this. What is very bizarre to me is that I resonate deeply. I do feel for her when she's like, I had no idea if my life was ever, like if I was going to recognize it again.
Yeah.
It feels like everything's been turned on its head. Like, I get it. Now, when that dust does settle, you wanting to relive it in any way, shape, or form is insane to me. Like, that is the last thing I ever want to do. Even talking about it is like, can we not? Like, let's just move past it because I can't. Like,
Well, and
it's
then
exhausting.
To go past even just relaying the story as it happened in the past, but to make it so it's like it's happening in current time and you're going to have people like weighing in and like giving their opinions on it too. Like,
People are very helpful on social media and Reddit posts and even on TikTok recounting their manic episodes. And I found a lot of solace in that. And like, okay, how did your families react? Like, I wanted to know everything. That to me is different.
well, and because that kind of stuff isn't something you can look up in like an essay where it's like, if you Google like how to handle a manic episode, it gives you like very generic steps where it's like, don't upset them. Don't do this.
Reddit's
But it's like
pretty deep,
you want
though. You were right about that. Reddit goes into it.
So like you want personal experiences because you just get general like don't do this or
Yeah.
do this and it doesn't really help you in a specific situation because it's always kind of vague. But you go on Reddit and people have very specific like this is how I handled it, this is what worked, this is what didn't.
Yeah.
And people giving advice just as like fellow people that have went through it. And the fact that she's asking all the people for it now and like it wouldn't be hard to source very specific stuff from someone else's experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's not that.
I was going to say, that's very alarming
Yeah,
if it is.
beyond.
And especially the text messages are a whole other level. But
Before we continue, we really quickly want to thank today's second sponsor, and that's Pretty Litter. I talked about this last time we were sponsored by them, but this is the litter that I was using before we got sponsored, and I was just so excited when they reached out because, yeah, thank you. Can you send me more litter? Also, thanks.
and honestly, I told you last time, I'm like, does this mean I have to get a cat? And I keep seeing videos ever since I said that of like, usually cats are really like, sassy and I keep seeing really cute ones.
Oh, just get one. It's a great idea, I think.
No big deal.
There's a few things that I love about Pretty Litter. The biggest one being it doesn't smell. Like seriously, every other litter, I've tried every other litter and you smell the pee. You know, cat pee doesn't smell great.
That's literally one of the biggest downfalls to having a cat.
I know it. And Pretty Litter has ultra absorbent crystals and they just trap the odor instantly. And I could tell you, they do.
And I know I don't have them, but I have seen that it changes colors and it basically tells you early if there's anything wrong with your cat.
Yeah, a lot of cats suffer from kidney issues because they have a lot of trouble drinking water. So it's really nice that it can alert you when your cat has like a urinary tract infection or things like that. And I always forget what the colors mean. So I have to look at the bag whenever I'm cleaning out her pee. I'm like, okay, oh, that one's good, period.
So if you guys have any cats and maybe me in the future and you want to try Pretty Litter, just go to prettylitter.com/DWKT and use code DWKT and you get 20% off your first order and a free cat toy. Did you get the free cat toy yet?
No, because I haven't run out of the litter they sent, but as soon as I do, I'm going to use my code. Yep. That's prettylitter.com/DWKT, code DWKT to save 20% and get a free cat toy and send it to me if you want. prettylitter.com/DWKT, code DWKT. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Thank you so much to Pretty Litter for being an amazing sponsor of this podcast.
I've always known that my love and passion for connecting to people through storytelling, especially if it was from lived experience, was going to be a big part of my life someday. During the active episodes, I often thought to myself that it sounded more like a novel or a movie than it did real life. I did consider writing a book about our experience once everything had blown over and I was in a position where that would be possible. Every time I tried, again, I would feel the not yet. There's something bigger on the horizon. You have to wait.
Stop it.
Till you come up with the idea to make it a TikTok series? Are you fucking kidding?
That is that sentence just gave me goosebumps.
She's
in
making
a
it
bad
all
way.
even more concerning when she's like, it sounded like a book. It sounded like, oh my God, who describes like a traumatic experience
I
like
get
that?
if you're an author or you're someone that enjoys writing and something traumatic happens, it's like a songwriter. You know, you want to write about it. I get it.
But then to bypass that to then do it as
Doesn't
like
make any
a
sense.
performance art kind of situation is fucking weird.
Absolutely. And like you said, like, you know, I used to do story times, right? Recounting things that sucked or that were bad. But there is a difference between, hey, this is something that happened, I don't know how many years ago, and literally actively being like, I'm at this bar and this guy's being a dick and I need help. And you're not. Like, that's
Exactly.
weird.
Where people are like, I mean, you said people were posting like, you need to get out with your children now. And she's like, oh,
No, the amount of
we're good.
people who have said, I was concerned about you. I was telling my friends about you, my family. Like, bitch, like we were worried.
That's why
we
it
were
reminds me
rooting
of the
for
Sarah
you.
Joy situation.
Exactly like that, yeah.
For months, I have been mulling over how to use the most traumatic and life-altering thing that we have ever lived through for something that would help other people.
Oh, what? Getting gross vibes.
She does say that multiple times. And in my head, I'm just like, how is that worrying people, helping them? Because even somebody witnessing that somebody else is going through the same thing that they're going through, it may feel comforting to know you're not alone, but that doesn't help you, like actually give you resources and stuff. You're actually, instead of helping, you're asking the people who have hurt to help you. You're saying, tell me what you did. Tell me what I should do. Tell me this. That is taxing. You've already been through so much shit. You're trying to give advice because you want to help a stranger. And then you find out that stranger's not in danger.
Well, and also, then those people, you're asking them to relive their traumatic
Exactly,
experiences.
yeah.
And then also, please explain to me how it would not help people to have framed it as something that happened in January. What would the difference be? Besides
She doesn't get to show
not
her
having people
chops,
be
her
actively
acting
concerned
chops.
and not people also coming back for more videos because she posted fucking 13 of them. She was like updating people in real time, it seemed like. So people were refreshing. It was like a Risa Tisa situation. Like, this wasn't to help people.
No.
Like, that's bullshit.
If you've lived through watching somebody that you love struggle with mental health, you understand what I mean when I say it is a whole set of emotions and fears and thoughts that you never had to cope with before it begins.
Yes.
And I know that you've just been dying to tell someone else how you dealt with all of it. Like, what?
With someone who's having a mental health crisis, especially if it's for the very first time, while also listening to the biological instinct to run, run, run. You're
Okay.
expected
Not
by
that
society
Doberman
and
means
by those
also.
around
I was like, oh my God.
She goes, I can't-
reference what I want to, but
She says, I don't
reminds me
just
of
act,
someone.
I sing. It's like, girl, please. Get off the stage. Boo, tomatoes.
Bring up the ukulele. Let's hear it.
those around you to just know what to do. Nothing can prepare you for who you become when you watch the person that you love the most in this world get lost in a mental crisis.
Yes, I know.
You find out pretty quickly that very little of society is welcoming to people with a psychiatric diagnosis.
I agree
Do
with
you
that.
though? Because you had, I agree in general. That is the stigma against, but like, you had people really tuning in and trying to help you, like, until people figured out that this wasn't in real time. She had so many people worried about her. And
I think maybe she means because even on a smaller scale, like when you see it happening, even the people they're interacting with, it could be a waiter or something. You're like, oh my God, like I know that they can see what's happening. And maybe she means like that, like people feeling uncomfortable around him in public, or I think they had bad experiences with the doctors if that really happened. Maybe that's what she's referencing. And maybe it's not, like, because obviously the community was welcoming.
Exactly. I'm just going through it all now from the different lens.
Oh,
Because
yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely. I know that mental health stuff is
For
completely stigmatized and people are uncomfortable to talk about it. But I'm like, and then you took advantage of people feeling that too to then help you, and you didn't need help.
Absolutely.
The response to he and I both in the middle of our crisis opened our eyes to just how little most people really understand these situations. And after losing so many people, we knew that we somehow wanted to do something to change that. This year has been a crash course in mental health, and the desire to somehow find a way to combat the societal response to individuals with mental illness has been growing inside of me since it began to happen to us. Until last week, I had an idea. What if I could use the detailed documentation of our experience, combined with my love of connecting to people through storytelling and performance art? I was a
Not the
theater
performance art.
kid. To share our story in a way that would springboard us into being able to reach as many people as possible.
Are you fucking kidding?
Isn't that
like
insane? She said, I wanted to combine
performance art.
my severe trauma, seeing my husband go through a mental health emergency,
And
and jazz hands.
Literally, I'm like, put on a one-woman show then, because what the fuck is this?
Literally, put on a one-woman show where it's all inspired by your husband's mental health emergency and go and perform it in your
and
local
people
town.
aren't concerned that you're actually in danger, and they're just saying, oh my God, she went through a traumatic experience and is telling us about it.
Exactly.
That would be far more meaningful than this, which,
Make
oh
a
my God.
movie, write a script, do fucking anything except pretend
But
that
something
you as a
bigger,
real life
something
human
bigger.
is not performing, but this is actually happening. If you rewind to the things that she said, the quotes that she said, I spoke to my husband tonight, like literally, because all of you guys told me this, I
It
spoke to him
is
about his
present
symptoms.
tense.
Literally, it could not even be confused for anything other than that.
I'm gonna share some screenshots of text messages and see what you guys think. And if you have any thoughts, let me know, because I'm a little bewildered.
It was still hard to believe, even when everyone was saying that it ticked all of the boxes for a manic episode. But things turned so fast. Once I confronted him, the night that I posted the first video, we had a talk about how his symptoms were really, really matching a manic episode, and that I was very concerned that it was because he was on a new medication that he'd never been on before.
So I am increasingly worried about what a lot of you are warning me about and what I'm reading about for when this episode starts to go on the downward spiral, because it looks to me as if it is very possible that he will next go into a possibly severe depressive episode. I have so many people concerned about the safety of my children and myself, and I want to explain a little bit more about this situation to help put your mind at ease. Briefly yesterday, in a moment where we actually connected for about 5 minutes, he told me that he felt like he was God and I was Jesus, and we were here incarnated on earth to save it. I think they're looking for me. The situation has really turned in the last couple of hours since I last updated. He agreed to go to our doctor yesterday, and this is the first time he's ever been to a doctor before.
Well, and that has to mean that some of it is made up, because she does say stuff like that. Like, I spoke to him about
That's
this
true.
because you guys said this. Well, you didn't know that 7 months ago, so what did you?
That's true.
just bring
She
that
lied
up on
about
your
some
own?
of it, so she could be lying about all of it, which is, oof.
How quick the response was, and how quickly I was able to recognize it because of that outreach. It changed the trajectory of things.
Who enlightened you about all of this information that supposedly the TikTok users told you that helped you navigate this, if you didn't know how to navigate it when it happened?
She shows like one anonymous Reddit post that it was like 2 people responded. She's like, I was talking about this.
When people do stuff like this, I'm always like, keep lying. Like, what are you
Keep
doing?
the- let's keep that
How did
train
you
going,
think?
sister. Just keep going
or
for
just,
it.
just stop. Just be like, everything's good. Bye. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, how did you think you were going to come and be like, performance art was the solution to my problems? Like,
I think she wanted to try and scramble and like fix whatever she had fucked up because she wanted to maintain that audience that she had garnered through telling everything. She did end up just deleting everything. That should have been your first move. You were found out, girl. Go skip town, change your name, or nobody knows your name. Just run. Never look back.
this to me just makes it very clear that like she didn't do this just to help people. She did this and wanted to keep it going because she wanted people to follow her. Oh my God. The performance art. I can't. That performance art
audacity
is
to say
insane.
that.
Like, fuck off. And I will say, kudos, girl. You're a great crier.
Dude, you could have used those acting chops to be in a movie or do something. You're good, girl. But now,
You know what? I did think in the very initial video, because all of the stuff she said in that first one was concerning. Like, she says later that it was something like lighthearted, but like, it was concerning. You wouldn't be like, oh, he's just joking around. Like, it was weird. She has a few moments in that first video where she's like making funny voices or like.
agreed. Yeah.
And I thought that was weird. I was like,
Same.
maybe it's just a coping mechanism. Like, you're just like, I tend to joke around when we're talking about stuff that's serious. Not
Yeah.
because I think it's funny, but just because I can't help it. But it wasn't like that. It was like she was having moments of just like, she was totally good. I don't think it would be totally good if your husband was telling you that he was trying to trap the consciousness of the universe in a computer in your attic.
I think that maybe it didn't land the way she wanted to in the beginning. She's like, okay, I got to turn this around, get more emotional, really, really resonate with the people. Because it did make
there
such
was a very
shift.
drastic shift.
Yeah, she's like, he's scared of me now. And maybe that's how it happened in real life. Maybe she was, okay, what is this? And then it got progressively scarier. But at one point, you're literally thinking you need to go to this woman's house and like pick her up and save her.
I can't help but think that, again, in that first one, she's like acting, what do you guys think this is? But it's like,
You fucking know what it is.
she knew what it is. First of all, again, you could have Googled one of the things and it
Yeah.
would have been like manic episode
And you
textbook.
do. Believe me, you
But
do. The second you see something weird, you're like, this person said this. What does it mean?
you don't need TikTok to, like, yeah, I get that manic episodes are a little like kind of confusing and not always the same. And what she was describing was very much straightforward. Like, she would have absolutely Googled it before she asked TikTok, and she's sharing all this stuff. And it's, my husband
She
doesn't
wanted
have
the
TikTok.
answer. She just
Bullshit.
wanted people to talk to her and give her attention. And she got
Well,
it.
and if she asks for answers, that's going to boost your engagement, get all the comments, get the algorithming, and boost her performance art.
And spread awareness and education for what happens to your life when a mental crisis strikes. That's where the idea for this page began. I
So she
wanted
did
to use
start
my
this for
passion
this.
for this to create an immersive experience.
An immersive experience?
It was immersive. I'll give her that.
We're not at Disneyland. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this isn't a choose your own adventure. Like, oh, do you think he's going to react this way to the manic episode? Or blah, blah, blah. Like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
How are you saying this and not, like, look at her kind of, like, she looks happy about it. Like, she really thought this was a
She
fire
thought she
idea.
ate.
One that would put you, the audience, into the shoes of somebody reacting to and
She's
deciding
reading a
how you would
script.
respond to this situation if
Oh,
it was
for sure.
happening to you.
Darting her
I
eyes
wanted
to the right.
Yeah, look at her glance. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Not the fucking
also-
script.
Like, I wanted you to put you guys in someone else's shoes. You're not, though. You're just making them worried for your shoes.
And even when you see things on TikTok that people, like for instance, I've seen a lot with schizophrenia where they will reenact what schizophrenia feels like. And a lot of times that will have on screen, this is a reenactment, like because those things can be really triggering for people. So if you're actively saying, this is what being a wife of someone who's struggling with a mental health emergency is, fuck you. You should have disclosed that. I'm sorry. Every caption should have been like, this is a reenactment.
Well, and then while simultaneously acting terrified and like your only hope, because she also said like her sister wouldn't help her because it was going to affect her mental health. And like the parents didn't believe her and stuff. And it's like, you made millions of people thinking that you were dealing with this alone in
Yeah.
a potentially dangerous, like volatile situation, that you were literally like having them like hinged on your last update as like, what's going to happen next? Is she going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? And oh my God, the next sentence, there's the captions already on screen. It's, I wanted to take you on a journey.
I wanted to take you on a journey from initially responding to the first red flags and not knowing what to do when it escalates into a full-blown emergency, and respond to the people who need our help and love and support the most. I hope you can forgive me for any emotional distress that you may have experienced while witnessing the retelling of our story and what it did in your body, mind, and spirit.
No.
And I hope desperately
Can't.
that you can feel my heart when I say that this
Can't.
is the springboard for the legacy that I want to leave.
What the fuck does that mean?
I think
Like,
she very much wanted to piggyback off of this. She said, okay, this is like, we can keep this going. And it's like, no.
and then she's going to be a mental health expert that like, after your story's done, what are the updates going to be? Do you still have more that you're going to reenact? Like, does he have another episode later on? Like, I don't blame people for thinking she made the entire thing up.
Yeah, for sure.
The way she's describing this is disgusting, honestly. I'm not against people obviously taking their experiences and turning it into some kind of art to help people, or just even as like a cathartic experience for you to like have you cope with your emotions that you. This is not that.
No,
This is
at
weird.
all.
Which is to leave this world kinder, more compassionate, more knowledgeable,
More suspicious that everyone is lying.
I know. Yeah.
more informed, and a more supportive place for families like ours and so many of yours. Next, I'm going to be sharing what the vision moving forward is
The
that has
vision.
been growing inside of me since all of this settled, and also answer any questions you may have about the parts of our story that you've heard so far. That could include answering questions about what has happened since then, what life looks like now, what ended up being the turning point, what our experience was like.
What part of this was true? What part of this was false? How much did you make up?
She's basically just being like, okay, you guys found out, so the shtick is up, but I'll still keep snowballing off of this and just give you some other things. Let's do Q&A. Let's really sass it up. Like, it's
basically,
just-
she's like, I mean, I wasn't going to jump to this yet, but we're going to skip a few steps. So this is what the end of
Insane.
the plan was going to be.
So that was her original plan, right? That was how she was originally going to handle things. Well, it turns out people did not like that. People were just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why would you do any of this? And so before she deleted her page, she posted this.
One thing that I believe and will stand behind is that people get what they deserve, which is exactly what's happening to me right now. I'm not going to delete this account just yet because I think that I 100% deserve to have to sit with and hear
He deleted
every
it like
single
2 days
person
later.
that feels wronged,
I was
betrayed,
going to say, girl, everyone's re-uploaded it anyway. I don't
Yeah.
think you having the account is you sitting with it. You
Yeah.
can just not log in anymore.
exploited, manipulated, and all of the very hurt, very valid comments that I'm getting. And I think it would be letting myself off too easy, even though this was completely my oversight and it
Big
was 100%
oversight,
my
girly.
responsibility to be able to put myself in a position where I could see exactly what you guys are talking about and do it differently. I am so deeply and sincerely and genuinely sorry for the hurt that I caused by telling my story the way that I did. I am so incredibly disappointed in myself, y'all. I never ever set out with an intention to exploit or manipulate or hurt anyone. But that meant that I completely skipped over the fact that the way that I told this story could be really hurtful and triggering for so many of you who maybe would not have chose to engage with my content or story if there had been a disclaimer saying that this was a retelling and not happening in current time.
She claims that that was an oversight that didn't really occur to her, but it's like, it must have, because that's why you chose to tell it like this, because you knew people would engage with it more than if you told it the other way.
It's
Like,
okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's okay that now you disagree with your motives in the beginning, but you wanted attention. You wanted people to see it. You wanted people
it was going to be the springboard.
you wanted them to be immersed. Isn't that what you said? You wanted
Immersive experience.
Yeah, like a 4D Shrek viewing. I don't know why that just came to my head.
It's accurate. Like those movie seats.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit. You know they do twisters with that? It's like, no thanks. I don't want
It's
to
really
fucking
tripping me out
vomit.
that it's plural twisters. But
I know.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I didn't go to the movie to be like shaken
Assaulted,
to death.
yeah.
But anyway, this feels so. I'm like, first of all, after the crying shit, I don't believe anything she's saying.
No.
With the emotion she's saying it, because clearly she can turn it on. And she said something like that, I'm glad people are telling me blah, blah. It's giving like, I'm glad I got canceled, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
no, I feel like she wouldn't have
She would
told
have
people
still been
even
acting
ever.
if people hadn't figured
We
it
still
out.
would have been reliving it.
Yeah.
Like she just would have been.
Absolutely.
Like, and also I have to just imagine when you do think to the major viral successes of like multiple videos in the last year, Risa Tisa, Brooke, like people that did these kind of like for part 2 or like stay tuned, like I'll post the next part tomorrow or something. That is what she was playing into.
Yeah.
This was like very, very strategic. And again, she could have done that saying when it was actually occurring and said this happened in January, get to a certain point and be like, part 2, like for example, even Brooks was not in present tense and Risa Tisa's. They were all reflecting on something that happened. So she was using this as like an extra, like this is going to get people engaged. You can't pretend like you didn't think people wouldn't worry because they were worried and you were responding to them in real time.
Yeah, and she even did, speaking of like TikTok trends she was taking from to create this series, she did like a get ready with me while I talk to you about my husband's manic episode, but it was like
That's
that
insane.
he's currently going through. It was not a manic episode he went through months ago.
That's like, get ready with me while I talk about how I let that girl get assaulted.
Our favorite. That was a good one.
Like, interesting. Maybe read the room.
My reasons for sharing it the way that I did felt so valid while I was doing it that way because I knew the direction that I was headed ultimately.
Which
But that meant
was
that I was not able to see
Success.
the harm that it could cause. And what I'm going to do today and for as long as I need to and feel like it's helpful and not harmful, I'm going to leave my account up and I want to do whatever I can to fix the issue immediately.
That's not really
I
a fixable
absolutely
issue.
deserve to be sitting with this backlash so that I can take actual accountability every single time I read a message that says that you feel betrayed, hurt, and especially from one specific angle that I did not even know to consider and have had my eyes opened to since reading all of your very helpful comments. What I'm talking about specifically is that when somebody tells a story, even if it is true, from the point of view that it is happening in real time, no matter what the reason for that is and how good that I may have thought that that was, it makes it hard for the women who actually need help to be believed if they need to post and this is their only outlet for connection during a time when they are genuinely in harm's way.
Well, and that's what I said. It was like when she's like saying what she thought it was going to, I'm like, make people more suspicious that everything they see online is a lie.
Yeah.
Because like,
They already
even
do
aside
that.
from the specifics of mental health stuff, that is something that people now have to like with, especially with like AI and like just technology in general, you're always kind of like, is that real?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you pull shit like this when people really do come together because they have a genuine concern and like people, so many people do relate to this.
I know people have different perspectives. I just cannot rack my brain on how she thought this was going to go well. I'm like, girl, where?
Because she was never going to tell people.
I know. Well, that's what she was like talking about her end goal and stuff. And I genuinely, what was it? Like you were just going to pretend the
end
Matic
goal
episode was done
to
and then
write
you're
it
just
out,
like,
and then she was gonna be like, "How we got back to normal."
yeah,
like
just
get ready
so
with me
weird.
to go get my husband from outpatient. Like
It's truly a bizarre representation, and I feel like we've been seeing it a lot more recently, but it's a bizarre representation of what the internet has kind of harbored. Like, not that people telling their story encourages this, but people like this will see it and just be like, you know what? I have a story. What is that meme that's like, I killed somebody once or something? Like, literally, that's her. Like, she's just like lurking in the shadows, and she was just like, oh, period, me too. And that's not okay.
it's one thing to recount something traumatic and share your experience. Again, whether that's helping you cope in a kind of cathartic experience to retell it, or if you think that it would help other people.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and mining your life for trauma that you can exploit in certain ways to get whatever the fuck she was trying to get, attention, regardless of whether she thought she was just spreading awareness. You don't go to those lengths for attention unless you're doing it for attention. Like,
Yeah, there was some TikToker. What is her name? The Haley something. You know, the one, the popular influencer. She gets canceled a lot.
Haley Bailey.
Haley Bailey. Oh, I was like, it can't be Haley Bailey because that's Halle Bailey, but that's Halle Bailey from the Little
I got
Mermaid.
that. I
Okay.
got that confusion.
Halle
too.
Bailey.
The one that the Met Gala
Or Haley
situation.
Bailey. Okay, yes, that one. So she got canceled recently because she was telling stories about her like billionaire boyfriend that was like abusive. It wasn't
And
true.
it was something like an NDA. It was like, oh, my NDA expired.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you.
People were like, that's not how that
I
works.
didn't watch any of it. But
She
I did
deleted
see
all
that
of it
was,
because people called her out. They were like, that's fake. And everyone got
and
pissed.
that's what I'm telling you. I'm like, I don't know if this girl specifically saw these, but when you think of like Brooke, Risa Tisa, people that went so viral, and it's not to like a niche audience, and even fucking Sarah Joy, like everyone sees it because you're like trying to prey on people's concern for other humans. And then it makes people not believe someone that maybe did need help.
It's kind of like story times on steroids, because story times back in the day were not super, like, you wanted to tell stories that were dramatic and like things that happened to you that stood out. So like crazy nights partying and things like that. But I don't think that anybody wanted to tell stories of abuse and things that were like really heavy. You wanted to keep it light and fun. I don't feel like it's the same culture, but I think it's kind of like a baby of it. You know what I mean? Like, we had the story times and now it's just evolved to God knows what.
I think of even like, I mean, you obviously had a lot more story times than I ever did, but even I was doing them during COVID because I couldn't film with anyone else.
Yeah.
I didn't really have anything to do. And I mean, I was running out pretty quick. I was mining my life for not traumatic experiences, but just like shocking experiences. But
There were times I just wanted to go out and get drunk for a story. Like, I just wanted something to happen.
yeah, I was like, most of mine were stupid things I did when I was drunk. They were always like rooted in something that it was like, maybe it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. Not traumatic, very, very personal. And again, like mental health, it's so stigmatized. Now you don't know what was true even about
And
this.
also,
if
it's
it all
not
was
even
true.
that. It's just the immersiveness is the weirdest fucking part of everything, because it's one thing to make up a story, which is already bad enough. It's another thing to live it. Like, I think that's just the craziest element of all of this. It's like, how could you ever in any universe think that's appropriate? That's not what Brooke did. That's not what Risa Tisa did. Risa Tisa, can you imagine if she would have been outed because she was talking about like, oh my God, I have a husband and he's doing
I'm so
this.
scared of him. He's like gonna like
He's
oh my
lying. I
God.
found a paper about this. No, like there's no need for that. Just tell the story.
And also Risa Tisa didn't, she kind of came out of nowhere, but even Brooks was like very much in response to people like
Wanting
she was
to know.
doing it in response to it already coming up and people wanting to know and begging her to tell more. This, you saw that you're like, I have something that I think would do well. And then you thought, how can I get people to, because that's the thing is you need people to engage with your content, and especially if you keep them hooked. So what's one step past just having a multi-part series? Having it be a real-time series where people are like, oh my God, this
like
is
that's a
what,
few
like,
steps
what's going to
past.
happen by tomorrow.
But I get what you mean.
Oh, for sure. But like, I mean, even with story times on YouTube back in the day, none of mine, I would say, are exaggerated. They were very much what actually happened.
Yeah.
That's why I ran out of them so quickly. But like, I feel like especially around the time you were doing it, people would very much exaggerate them.
Oh, 100%. I
And
exaggerated stories
that
all the
was kind
time.
and it was kind of known.
Yeah.
But this is, again, taking that 10 steps further because
To be fair, though, I exaggerate everything. Like, I feel like I'm a dramatic person in general. So it's not that the stories were lies. It's just that I can tell a story about like someone throwing a rock and it hits like my pinky toe. And I'll just be like, can you believe? Like, I can do that because that's just how I am. That's my personality. Do I think people
but it
flat out
wasn't
lie
in the
about
sense
stories?
when
I
it's
do.
about something that's super serious
Never-
and
no,
you're
dude.
trying to like pull
No.
at people's heartstrings to get that response and then asking them for help, so you are farming
just
for more
bullshit.
engagement.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's the difference between doing it in real time and having it be just like, this happened to me 7 months ago, is because now she could ask people to chime in and they had a reason to do it and not be like, oh, maybe later I'll comment or something.
Right,
No,
it
people
was
were
urgent.
like actively feeling like
Yeah.
they needed to because you needed urgent help.
She literally asked for it. Yeah.
I did not know to think about this from this direction, and am so glad that so many of you have commented this and made me aware of this.
Right? I'm like, come on. Like, you weren't glad that people figured this out to begin with. Like, this ruined your whole plan.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I am devastated that I did not consider that, and will do whatever it takes to make it right.
You didn't consider that when you actively asked people to chime in and help you and stuff? Like, you never considered, what if people find out that I'm lying about this? Like, I don't believe that.
Well, in her eyes, she's like, I didn't lie. Just reenacting.
But she did. She clearly did. Because she was.
It's just, to her, like, what she's saying is like, I was trying to make you feel what I was feeling, which in general is weird because when you go through it, you don't want anyone to ever have to experience it because it's the worst shit ever. So it's like, why do you want people to be that immersed, bitch? Like, that
And
seems kind of cruel.
You're asking people that have gone through it themselves to
yeah.
re-immerse themselves now in your experience.
Right.
Because you want to then make it a springboard for how you're going to help people. Maybe these other people should be the ones helping.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're the person for this. I think now it just seems like she's trying to save face because she wants to, again, keep this following that she has gotten from this and doesn't want it all to go to waste because she put a lot of work into this performance art. But like, I don't know if I believe this, like, I didn't think of that. I'm like, if you didn't, then you need to maybe do some self-reflecting and ask yourself why you didn't.
Yeah.
But I don't think I believe that she didn't.
Right.
I think she's just doing this to try and pacify everyone.
Yeah.
I am completely prepared to sit with how uncomfortable and disgusted and gross and icked out that I feel with my own self by reading your comments, because I agree with like 90% of it. I am telling you right now. I am so incredibly and genuinely sorry for the negative impact that my storytelling had.
Also, this is just giving, like, not to keep bringing up Brooke, but I'm like, Brooke is talking about racist tweets that she had 10 years ago, and she's like, I need to show you, blah, blah. Girl, you had this just huge epiphany, and now you're disgusted with yourself when less than a few days ago, you were literally crying, making yourself cry. I mean, even
this
I
was
know
all
that
in
you
a
can
matter of a
retell a
week.
story and get emotional, but like, this isn't something you did a while ago, and now you're like, I can't believe I did that. You were actively doing it and just explained and justified all of it in your last video.
I am learning and want to continue learning, which is why I'm going to leave this account up. And due to the fact that you were not given adequate disclaimers to consent to engaging with that, which makes me feel absolutely disgusted with myself, and I deserve to feel that way.
You described it as performance art, so I don't really feel like that's authentic, but sure.
I know what my intention was and my heart, and I knew where I wanted to be taking this account, but that does not excuse having had the oversight.
You had the foresight of where you wanted to take the account, but you didn't have any of the foresight that, like, this might not be a good idea? I don't know. This is insane.
Not to consider that this is the kind of story that truly needs people's consent with a disclaimer before they engage with it. And I am just going to spend the day absolutely disgusted with myself and sitting with how uncomfortable it is to be reading these comments and having the heart of what I really wanted to do by sharing our story the way that I did be buried by the actual impact. And I think that I fully deserve to have to sit with that and be uncomfortable in that and learn from this experience in a way that is hurting me deeply for all of you. Like, I don't even deserve to get to make an excuse at this point. And I want you to please let me know how I can do better, continue educating me on these things, and how
I can do better.
Just don't do.
Don't go away.
Anything.
Don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
No more performance art from you.
Oh my God.
To consider every single person who is going to be finding this kind of content moving forward, so that I can be so much more considerate and learn how to put myself in the mindset of each person who wants to choose to engage with anything that I put out into the world from here on out.
I feel like she's missing the point.
Well, she's
like,
missed
it's
the
not
point the
people
entire
need
time.
to consent to engaging with this. It's like, no, just don't lie. People shouldn't have to be like suspicious of whether something is legit or not because you were putting it on as performance art because you thought it would be a better springboard for whatever the fuck you wanted
Well,
this
the
account
truth of
to
the
be.
matter is that had she put some sort of, hey, this is a theatrical retelling of a story, it wouldn't have done what it did because people wouldn't have been as concerned. She wouldn't have gotten the views. People would have been like, okay, period, go off and
it wouldn't have been an
reenact that
immersive
manic
experience.
episode. That's very strange.
So you wouldn't need the consent.
It feels like she's missing the point of her taking advantage of people's worry, and she doesn't even really acknowledge that, of just like, she's like, I'm sorry I made you feel uncomfortable. No, you actively caused many people to be concerned about you, share resources with you, share retellings of their own traumatic experiences with themselves or loved ones who have experienced mental health emergencies, and it's fucked. It was unnecessary. There was no reason to, I mean, honestly, when I found out that this was a retelling, it infuriated me because watching her original videos before I knew this was a retelling did take me back to a place that I would prefer not go back to just yet. It didn't happen that long ago. Like, I just feel like it affected more people than she realized, and it was cruel. And she didn't really, I mean, maybe she's sitting with it in real life, but she deleted all of this. And so she's no longer on the internet. But it's like, did you sit with this? Do you understand?
When you also consider the fact that, like, she references if she just, we said we didn't know earlier if there was videos before this, but it makes it seem like she made this account simply for that. I'm just like, you didn't have the oversight that you were manipulating people into thinking that you needed help, and like I just
wanted to perform.
Not immersive experience, performance art, and then being like, I had good intentions, and it's like,
I know, it was very icky.
And I can't handle her also treating this as if it's like a racist post or something she did, but like, I want to do better. Just don't do whatever the fuck this was. Like, what do you mean? This isn't like a change your behavior. It's just stop.
Yeah, and it did happen so recently that it's like, I think between her original apology where she was just like, it was performance art, like I loved it, like she was like very much, she wasn't as apologetic.
I was gonna do a book, but I knew there was something greater.
Yeah,
like,
she definitely seemed more like pleased with herself and just like, well, you guys just don't get it, it was performance art. In between that and this, I think it was like 2 days or a day. So it's like, how much can you possibly change?
This is very much, she's trying to pivot to like best handle it so she doesn't lose everything. And then I think probably the backlash to this,
she just gave
was
up.
Similar to how we're reacting. And she was like, ooh, I guess that's not going to work. Back to the drawing board, honey. Like, does she have a husband?
She does, I think.
People did point out she didn't have a ring on, which I know not everyone wears rings, but like, how wild would that be?
I mean, that would be next level. No, she does, I think, have an actual husband and kids and stuff. I don't know what she saw happening because people lie, you know, people say things all the time for clout and stuff on the internet. But usually when you see this level of like, fuck it, let me just go balls to the wall, it's from someone like, what's the name of that girl who licked the toilet seat? who dated Monty Lopez?
Oh, I don't remember her name.
Ava
but
Louise or something like that?
That was it. Yeah, good job.
There you go. So, like, you think of people like that, you're like, okay, someone like that would completely just lie about something and just be like, it was fun, bye. Like, you know what I mean? This is so confusing because she seems to have a moral compass when she's speaking right now, but you're not sure if it's real or she's just trying to appease to people
Yeah,
to
I was gonna
maintain
say,
her platform that she gained from
Does
this.
she? Because she seems to be really good at harnessing emotions. And
Oh, yeah, no, I
conveying
don't trust her emotions no more after that
vibes.
crying
so,
one.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, she seemed like, oh, I'm really sorry. Are you? Because who
Yeah.
the fuck knows at this point?
But it completely rocked my world. When I saw this, I was like, you're fucking kidding. Because had she been lying about all of it, that also would have been insane. But the reenactment, I was like, not the dramatic reenactment. I cannot deal with that. That was insane.
I think it's crazy because, like, yes, if she lied about all of it, it would be fucking insane. But I agree. It almost is weirder that it would be the reenactment because
It
she
involves
was,
real trauma and real experiences. And it's like, why
that
would you
she's
want...
again mining for mining
Yeah.
for content and like engagement. Like, that's crazy. If her husband does exist, would he want her sharing all this? Is
Apparently he
aware?
was
She
a
kept
part of
saying
it.
we,
Apparently he was
but
like, let's do this.
was he? Where is he?
We haven't seen him. We don't know.
I have suspicions.
I mean, valid, honestly. But anyway, that's pretty much it. How fucking insane. I feel like every time we're watching someone do some crazy shit just for the end, it's like getting worse and worse. The Clout Goblin behavior is becoming
That's
increasingly
why I
more
brought up
concerning.
that her being like, oh, society needs to change. I'm like, society has some big problems that you are partaking in that have
Right.
well, they do have to do with mental health, but not the same you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
That being said, don't reenact traumatic stories on the internet, okay, guys? In case you didn't know that, it's not going to go well. People will clock your ass, and then you're donezo. You're
just
never going to be able to show your face here
lie
again.
about shit. And we said even earlier, we touched on this, but it's like the people that do lie about stuff like this, they always get a little too cocky. They go a little too far. They can't ever just like say it and leave and walk away. It's
Nope.
like,
You gotta milk
look
it.
how well this is
See how
going.
far
And
it
they gotta
takes you.
keep pushing it. And then here we are.
By the way, really quick shout out to my friend Nicole on TikTok. Her is really very anxious, and she's the one who screen recorded all of these, categorized them in a Google Doc, and sent it to our researcher. So I'm very grateful for her.
We love an organized and helpful queen.
Literally, she's like, "Are you gonna cover Flightless Birdie?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I got your shit. Don't worry." I was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." So big shout out to her. She is the best. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I don't anticipate any updates, Lily, so you'll be good on this one because she is gone. She's gone for good.
Unless I figure out who it is and see if she's really married and look, just saying.
true.
Maybe
There
I
always
could
could
do
be
that.
an update.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of need maybe a one day off from
Yep.
the fucking movie got me. But I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I was like, when I kept seeing Flightless Bird, this is not what I expected.
What did you expect? Like a bird that's injured?
Something about an animal that was flightless.
No, true. Yeah, no, that
Spit
makes more
everywhere.
sense.
Yeah, no, weird that we never get an explanation for that. That was just a character choice.
I think that it was just like some dramatic bullshit she came up with. Like, it's funny because before people had figured her out, I saw someone comment like, isn't Flightless Bird like a little too on the nose? Like, that seems like a very intentional name. But again, she created that TikTok account to tell what was going on. So I didn't see it that weird. I was like, well, I mean, it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, but yeah.
Is it like, as in like she's like,
Can't fly. She
wouldn't
can't
that be
escape.
like a caged bird? Flightless bird is weird.
She can't fly.
Yeah, but like a caged bird is like a common thing where it's like you're trapped and anyway, not important.
Yeah, whatever.
But
That is all we have for you today. We were going to cover something else and we're going to save it for Monday because this got long and we'll see if tomorrow's gets long too. We have a lot of things to discuss.
I was going to say, and it's another big request. So,
It is.
yeah. But we love the internet.
Yes. I just sent you one. It says on the screen, POV, you tell your friend you're too sad to hang out and she shows up anyway. It reminded me of us back in the day when you would always not want to come to my house. Oh, let's talk about
You guys,
it. Let's do it.
I just want to clarify that, first of all, I have text proof. You do not.
Okay, girl who keeps every phone she's ever had.
Sorry. It's fun. No, it is so entertaining. But first of all, she lived really far away.
From
And
you, not
I
from
went over there-
myself. I lived very close to myself.
Okay. I went over there a lot.
Ish. I didn't mind going to your house. I didn't. I'm just
I was
I'm
gonna
just
say,
teasing.
and you
I'm
would offer to
joshing
come to
you.
mine. Or you would already be there
I
at
would.
Clever shooting, and then you'd come afterwards.
That's true, 'cause I was closer
do
to
not
Clever.
even try and act like we weren't hanging out every other day.
Oh my
And
gosh,
if not,
she's gonna
then we would
bite
be
my
like,
head off.
I was like, don't act like we weren't hanging out every other day. And
We
if
were.
we didn't, it was like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. And it's like,
that was
guys,
weird. Why
chill
were we
out.
like that? Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of cute, but like also kind of weird.
I didn't have Sprite Zero.
That look of like,
She literally was like, I'm here. Move so I can come in. Yeah.
Oh my
Everybody
God,
needs a
that's funny.
friend that shows up regardless. But you know what? That friend is never going to be the friend that comes over and is like demanding a lot of things of you or like needing to be entertained. You know, they will just sit with you and that's it.
I love a couch friend. And
Yep.
that is why we've always gotten along. Because we're like, oh my God, we don't want to human with anyone else. We just want to
No.
like sit and
Or like having to think of like, do I say
drink some
something
beers,
funny or like, you know,
hit
it's just,
the bong.
you know? Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the craziest part. Like when you think back to like how much we would hang out, I know that we'd like sit and watch videos a lot of the time. I don't remember, like, I couldn't tell you any specifics except for that time we listened to Adele and cried and then got the noise complaint for listening to Grace and Chance. That was pretty memorable. But like otherwise, I can't like pinpoint like, oh, we always used to do that. It was just literally we would do what we're doing now for just hours.
Yeah. We would just
I was
talk
also kind
a
of
lot.
drunk a lot of the time.
Yeah. We were drunk. We would smoke. We would talk about boys. And then we would order pizza. That's pretty much the only like solid plans we had. You would complain a lot about Clever. I would complain about God knows what. And we were just there like, okay, here. And then we just talk until I left. That's pretty much it.
And not to get sappy, but have you seen, I think it was a TikTok where it was like, you know, there's some people that it's like you run out of things to talk about.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's like awkward silences. It was, the TikTok is something like, when I realized that I never have awkward silences or run out of things to talk about with my friend because we can just say whatever comes to mind and it's just a stream of consciousness without the fear of being judged.
Yeah. And also, I always feel like the people that you can be silent around and you are just like not feeling like you need to
comfortable silence.
fill the space too is also a sign of like extreme comfort. Like, for instance, the Adele thing that we did, like listening to her a whole album and just crying in a dark room, like that would have been super awkward with anyone else. Like, I would have just been like, "Ooh, what if they probably think I'm fucking weird?"
Even that's the same thing with the like not having silence because you can say whatever you want without having to be
Yeah.
worried about being judged. It's that you can be like usually awkward silences or is because you're like, oh my God, are they expecting me to say something? Am I
Yeah.
like, you're all like just nervous that you're like being weird, but like we didn't have that. So it's
No.
just like,
No,
just-
never.
and
I
it was
talk a
just
lot when I'm
understood.
drunk.
I talk a lot all the time.
But yeah, I thought that was funny. A very cute, short little video.
I liked that. It does remind me of like literally because I would always have no money when we first met. Jesse met me before. I mean, I didn't have money for a while actually, I think. But you wouldn't show up with like a Dr. Pepper, which, you know, wouldn't mind. But I would be like, I can't do this. And she'd be like, I already called an Uber. It's on its way. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm a bit forward with things like that.
Which, I mean, like, I would never be like, oh, can you? I mean, eventually, like, now I would. But at the time, it wasn't going to be me like, I don't have any money. Will you pay for my Uber to go to your
Yeah,
house? Like,
yeah.
I would never have asked, but you were just like, it's already coming. This is their license plate.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom. I don't know if this is I love the internet or I'm concerned. But have you seen the Alicia Silverstone video?
Yeah. Why does she say tomato like that?
That is the takeaway. You got from that. Here, I'll play it for you guys. This will be my wheel of the internet, but it's honestly not because of her video. It's because of the comments, because I was cracking up. This whole thing is just, if you haven't seen it, get ready. It's
Do we
quite
know them?
weird.
I was at a party, the same party as her one time. And you know who else was there? Mike Tyson. Yep.
What? Interesting crowd.
Right? I know.
It's so funny because and this isn't like supposed to be an insult or anything. But like she obviously looks a lot older and then she didn't Clueless because she was like a teenager. But it's crazy because her voice exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
I like hear her say certain words and I'm like, oh my God,
Except for when she says tomato in a British
yeah,
accent.
that's weird. Yeah. Okay. Someone had sent me this too for us to like even cover. I think it's a story, which I don't think there's enough for it to be one, but it's just so like, what is happening?
What would the story be? Alicia Silverstone eats a poisonous tomato.
Yeah, literally. That was okay. Get ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, I've discovered something that I can't figure out what it is, and I need your help. I just bit into it because I was on the street and we were discussing whether this was a tomato or not. It's definitely not, because look at these leaves. Those are the leaves.
That is somebody's front yard, ma'am.
Literally. First of all, the way she just framed that, like I already bit into it because it was on the street.
So why the fuck are you asking us? It's already in your mouth.
Ma'am, what are you talking about? And then she turns the camera and she's literally on the other side of a gate reaching into someone's yard.
It's very
And I'm
bizarre.
like, those don't look like something you eat. Like maybe I'm just not someone that is scavenging for berries and fruit. But like, why would you ever see something like this in someone's yard and be like, I'm gonna eat that?
She eats it twice because she eats it again.
Oh yeah.
So what the heck is
That
this?
was the because sounds just like that brings me back to Clueless.
Because when you open it up, it looks like that. And if I bite it, I don't think you're supposed to eat this.
Then why are you eating it?
Mid eating it.
It's almost like a pepper. Does anyone know what this is? I don't know what it is. I need someone to tell me. I'm in England.
I'm in England.
Thank you.
Is that
That's why she said tomato.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it called? Because I know everyone clocked it.
Yeah, I was like, so then straight to the comments I went. And we have that it is a Jerusalem cherry. They are poisonous.
Oh my God.
She's clearly clueless. Nice callback. Imagine looking into your front yard and seeing Alicia Silverstone munching on your garden.
And imagine your garden being poisonous Jerusalem berries or whatever the fuck they're called.
Eating random stuff from bushes when you don't know what it is a level of non-anxiety I can only aspire to. Who just picks something they don't know what it is and eats it. Not very mindful, not very demure. I'm an expert botanist, having studied this comment section for 3 minutes, and I'm qualified to tell you it's a Jerusalem cherry.
Literally me. I would not even Google check that that's a Jerusalem cherry. It's the top comment. It's a Jerusalem cherry.
The fact that it's toxic is a whole other thing. But I'm like, even if it was a tomato, like, what? Are you reaching into someone's yard and just like, since when is that?
Clearly, yes.
Like,
I mean, the yard,
protocol.
like it is kind of like protruding across the street. It might be a fine line there. You know, cut it if you don't want people
it passes
touching
the
it.
fence, so it's like you can have those ones. I feel like she reached in for that one.
Oh
though.
yeah, she would have reached in anyway. So, but anyway, guys, this episode was much longer than I thought it was going to be. But you know what? That's the way it is these days. Every time we film, it's like 2.5, 3 hours. We used to film for like an hour and a half. I don't know what's happened lately. We're getting real
I don't
chatty.
either, but at least there's not like a lot of like extra comments and screenshots. I think it's just pretty much just the video.
You're just thinking of what you have to do for the assets of this episode.
Literally, that's like in real time. I'm like, fuck.
I do the same
that.
thing. Like I will, when we say something, I'm like, I have to cut that as if I'm going to remember that exact moment. Anyway, we gotta
like
go.
already dreading pulling all these comments for this. We love the internet, but you know, they're funny. So
Yeah.
for you guys.
If you made it to the end, we love you. We appreciate you. Don't forget to take that little survey for our merch. If you haven't yet, please, means a lot.
And also take it and answer it truthfully, because we
Yeah.
don't want like
Don't just take it to
50,000
take
people
it.
being like, yeah, I want sweatpants, and then you not buy sweatpants, because then we're not going to be very happy.
Everyone's like, please, please, please. We launch it. One person buys. We're like, oh my God. No, we genuinely,
Literally,
if you're
like,
interested in merch, answer it. Don't answer it just to answer. Like, we don't like get paid if you answer it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And we don't get paid if you don't buy it. So.
Yeah, that's also true. Okay, anyway, we're going to go. But as always, have a wonderful weekend, guys. And yeah, we'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Yes.